Thanks for coming, everyone, online and in person to Great Falls. We're happy to have you here. Thanks for investing your time. So Grid is about networking, bringing people together, having you learn about each other and network. And they say the work is network. So, talking to you earlier that you're doing from Grid to Grid and trying all different networking events. That's absolutely the path. The more people you know, the more doors you open for yourself. So I started at Grid last year, started networking, and it eventually partner and then SaaS. And so it opened really eventually. So that's why we're here tonight. This is discussion, collaboration, learning. So there are slides that we're going to go through. I think we'll be panel discussion. We'll talk about Jose's experience. Jose joins us. He's a broker with Spring Hill Real Estate. Many years of experience in real estate, investment, splits. And so he brings a really good background. You guys are interested in jumping into different properties, getting that freedom.
Yeah, no, covering high level and amazing job. No, I think today we love to get everybody experience, understanding, bring started diving into our officially last year, right? Some people have committed that doesn't matter. Right. I have
Thank you for having us. Would you please introduce yourself? Give us your name and a little bit of your background so we can get started.
My day job with a company called Parents. Positions. Real estate. So working with Jose, your colleagues here. And, what am I? My main focus is to put together here. So bringing people together and eventually opportunities that benefit you, market property and
I've been in the real estate industry for 7 months. I started a company. I had done and I had an opportunity. Technology and data and analytics and getting out various initiatives for people with clients organizations. But I've always been passionate about real estate. So I had an opportunity to start a mortgage brokerage. I did that, I started that, and at the same time, I somehow got into the real estate side as well. So I'm now
some of you know, I have been in real estate for 23 years. I have been in both the lending side of the business, and then I transitioned over to the real estate side. I have managed over, so in relation to this setting here, I have managed over 400 properties for Fannie, Freddie, Wells Fargo, and Bank of America. The bulk of those properties were managed during the the market crash of 2008, where we went. I started in 2010 and did that for about 6 years. And I'm currently the supervising broker at Spring Hill.
Can you hear us online? Can somebody just let me know? Chip, can you let me know? I'm playing around with the settings here, but I just
Yeah, I can barely hear you. It's like you guys are in a hole someplace. So I can hear, but it's
Very
like
soft.
okay, that's better. Very soft.
And that's
Cassandra, I can hear you.
Sandra. Maybe some more pizza before.
They hear me better than they can hear you? Can they hear me?
Can you hear her?
I can hear. Yeah, I can hear you a little bit better. Yes.
I think it's
No, I can't. It's very low.
You may want to step forward.
Hi, Karen.
You can hear me, yes? No, not.
Can you hear me?
Better.
Very, very soft, like you far away, like in the other room or something.
Yeah, the microphone is pointing this way also. Yeah, just keep going.
All right, so you want to introduce yourself?
So my name is Nefatan. I am an attorney. I've spent the last 4 years as a prosecutor, but now I'm transitioning over to something else. It's a really exciting opportunity for me. I've been in real estate. I've been interested in real estate for roughly a couple of years, but I haven't done what it is to take a proactive step forward on that until probably May of last year. I took a course, and I did that pretty actively every day until about September. My caseload got great and I dropped the ball. So
Kind of cool.
so it was a real estate course all
To
about.
get your real estate license.
No, not that, but I am also working on that now.
Okay.
So I'm 70% away from the real estate. This was a course all about real estate investing. So
Got it.
fix and hold or fix and flips. So I did that, and it's they're based in St. Louis, but they're nationwide. But I didn't have any local ties here, and obviously we are in a very unique market. So I'm trying to make a concerted effort now. Kind of new year, new me. I was making a point of it starting in January that I was going to start getting involved in it more, coming to more of these events and getting to know people who are actually involved in it here and understand this market and kind of what you guys are both talking about, getting to know each other, and we can benefit the more that we know, and maybe there's something that I can bring to the table to help you guys, and likewise. So really good to
Say the number.
How long years?
Yeah, say the number. 18.
18 years, okay, so a little less than most.
What's that, man? How are you? Teams meeting. I'm on a Teams meeting.
Hello, my name is Mario Mancita. I'm from Springfield Real Estate also. Realtor. Thing is 20 years.
20 years.
Well, actually, I left like for 5 years, 2008, and I came back. Probably 3 years I left and then came back in 2008.
Wait, did you cause the crash? Is that what you said?
Ran away. Because the interest rate going up.
Yeah, I think so. As soon as I joined, yeah.
The rate
Going
shot
up,
up,
right? Yeah.
So anyway, but I've been trying to get into investment, the different things, then I saw the email coming out about this class, so I said I need to join and learn. It's something that I've been interested in for a long time. I mean, being an investor myself, so hopefully, I'm sure I'm gonna get a lot out of the platform.
My name is Anna Parsaki. I am associate broker with Springfield Real Estate, and I lead EDGA toolkit. I have been doing real estate for 11 years, and I have been doing some buy and hold, but not buy and hold. I like to have connections, networking, and just need some actually information, get something.
I'm Heidi. But I'm definitely like, use me as a resource if you have any questions. Always need to know the process. If you guys have properties you're interested in, we will do a quick title search on it, make sure that it's property that would be great investment, there's not gonna be any holdups on the closing end. I can help with that. And then as far as investments, I have one investment property and I'm growing my portfolio too. So I'm always trying to learn more. So yeah. So I'm like, I love learning and finding out more. So I was like, this is good for me as well.
Very good, Heidi.
Yeah.
And online, we have 3 people. Glenda, can we get them to introduce themselves?
Yes. Sorry. Yeah, this is Cassandra. Finally, we are able to hear you a little bit better.
Okay, good, thank you. Would you like to say
Speak up a little bit more. It should be fine.
Would you like to introduce yourself, Cassandra? Just who you are and why you're interested in the grid?
Well, yeah, Cassandra, being a realtor for the last 15 years, and always good to know what people is doing, what you're talking, get to know. I really don't know much. I just learn about the group, so I just want to see what you guys also have for say.
Yeah, well, we're really happy that you're here. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Chip, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. This is Chip Shear. I'm in the private lending business, and I've known Rob and Mark forever. So this is my first time to the Great Falls Grid Group, but wanted to introduce myself, and I will come in the flesh in the future. I didn't realize it was an in-person meeting, but anyway.
Well, we're happy.
Yeah, thank you. Been in the private lending space for about 30 years, so I know a lot of the ins and outs, and would be happy to give people some just general direction on what to look for and what makes sense and what doesn't.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you so much. And when you come in person, there is pizza in the room, so that's a perk of coming in person.
Well, that is an important perk.
All right.
This is Pix. Are we okay?
So we are gonna have a little trivia quiz. Glenda's gonna present it sometime maybe in the middle or whatnot, and we have a little prize, whoever wins it. So thanks. Thanks, Glenda. All right, so we're gonna keep this to a sort of a panel thing. And so we're gonna talk about Jose. There's a set of questions. First, we'll run through.
Why not?
You can join the panel.
Title expert, you probably have a lot to bring to the table.
So just quickly, we talked about grid and what is grid and so forth. I'm sorry, my stuff. So But I mean, essentially, what we talked about, grid is about us meeting, there's a certain number of slides that talk about the benefits of, doing this sort of work, investing. So for example, there's a chart. So there's the 7 levels of wealth, right? I think we're all aware of this, right? You have the mindset, like, I want to do this, I'm thinking about doing this. You get the energy, and then you actually start, going out there, prospecting, doing the sales and marketing, and the leads come and so forth. Then, maybe you start a business, and then you start doing the investments, and then the leadership, essentially stand on shoulders of others. You create a team, grow this engine, right? This pyramid essentially is supposed to.
I do have a question, I guess maybe we can start with you, Jose, but with the mindset and energy piece, I think everybody gets started in real estate because has the mindset of, hey, this is a great opportunity to get into, right? You're kind of in that right now. What kept you there? Like how were you able to harness that and keep that going, right? Because there's been ups and downs and the market and everything else, but how do you sort of keep that going?
Well, I mean, I think at first for me it was ambition. Relatively young, not that old. Just because I said I've been in the business for 24 years doesn't mean I'm that old. I was really young when I started. People. So I think it was more ambition, right? I grew to love the business. A lot of people get into real estate as a path because they maybe haven't been able to find themselves. I mean, you had a career and really good career, and now you're choosing to do this. But for a lot of folks who get into real estate, that's not the case, right? This is sort of something that affords you a path to a career that doesn't involve college. I didn't go to college, right? It wasn't for me, it's for everybody, and it definitely wasn't for me. So this afforded me a career. So I was very ambitious when I was young, and ambition kept me in, right? So I saw the potential via mentors early on. I had a really good mentor, very young, very fortunate in that aspect. So that kept me clear as to the path that I was taking.
Yeah, and for me, I think it's a little bit the opposite. So I started a lot older than you probably did. I was 37 years old last year. So, for me, similar to you, pivoting from a totally different career,
right? It was
like I was very used to making X amount of income, but with that came restraints in terms of my work-life balance and being tied with the objectives of a large global organization versus really focusing on me and my business, right? So what attracted me towards real estate was that autonomy, right? Not just from, like, hey, like I have these passive like income, but I am a very ambitious person. So for me, it's, hey, I want to develop the greatest mortgage company in the world, right? I want to develop the greatest commercial real estate company. Like the targets that I sort of set for myself last year, and that's kind of what I guess. But there's times where things have to slow.
Same mentality though, right?
Same
Like
mentality,
right?
yeah, the ambition, yeah.
And then obviously you saw the flexibility that the job afforded you to sort of. And again, when I say flexibility, I don't mean that you could do this job a couple hours a day. It's that aspect of it is that it's your business, it's your own business, and you're gonna get out.
Good.
So when I'm sorry because I just because I'm speaking today a little bit, and that doesn't mean that I'm all familiar with this process, because this is my first meeting at Grid, full disclosure. So then sales and marketing, when we're talking levels here, what is this?
This is general, Jose. Okay. So the general process of, getting to a point where you have this
Well.
engine going, yeah,
Okay.
and this engine is generating this wealth.
So this is telling, just saying, at the beginning, you should work on the mindset, then on your sales and marketing.
The foundation of it, because if it's not there,
Got it.
nothing else is gonna work.
All right.
You know, if you don't have that ganas.
Yeah, and I think all of us would probably debate our level order should be, right? Because maybe I would have business ownership at level 2 and then sales and marketing after that, right? Because unless you're truly taking ownership of your career and your business, are you really gonna start doing marketing and spending dollars on that, right? So,
Yeah,
but I'm sure they have additional context behind.
yeah, that's
their
true, they could
methodology.
shift, right?
Yeah,
You could generate the leads, and then you're at a point where like, oh man, this could really take, oh, okay, let me start a business, blah, 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 blah.
yeah,
Or start the business and then start doing the marketing under that business.
right.
But good questions. So, it's a learning process as you go through every one of those steps, you want to expand, get deeper into it. Whether it's, the lead generation, what sort of statistical methods can you use to, find these leads and things like that, off markets, what are the telltale signs that something's going to be off market, for example? In my case, that's the mindset that I have, how can I find these off markets so that I can, have a bigger slice of the pie. So it's just trying to learn each one of these steps deeper. And, when you profit, whatever money you take out of an investment, put it in a future investment. And so you grow that money, you make that money work for you. And then, I don't know if you guys have read the Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yeah.
They have a matrix.
In the 90s.
That's right. I used to be a poor dad.
Yeah.
I'm still a poor dad. But it's essentially it, right?
That's a great book.
Right.
Very good.
If you start your own business, you're a business owner, you're an investor, you're obviously on the right side. If you're self-employed, you're working away for someone else who's benefiting from, your work, your hard work, sweat, and so forth, then, you're not gonna benefit as much. Some people do, but essentially that's what this chart is saying. I don't know if you want to add anything else to this.
Great
No,
book.
I think you need to, if you haven't read it, just read it.
Yes.
It's a great read,
Right.
no matter what.
And, this is essentially summarizing that. So I think I'll stop here. And then we'll go into the panel discussion, go through the questions that we had and so forth. This is going to be a Q&A. So if you guys, like Jose says something like, oh, wow, you did that and that really worked for you. How did you do that? How did you go about it? By all means, jump in and ask questions. So
What do you want to start?
Do you mind if we start with introductions for the two of them as well, since?
Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Pizza.
It came in the 90s.
Yeah.
So you are,
I'm sorry.
Tony, what brings you here?
Well, I'm just here with my mom.
Oh, I know.
The mom brought you here.
Basically,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
I don't know, she mentioned something about this conference and I had a little bit of interest, just wanted to hear what was up.
Okay, okay. And mom, how about yourself?
I mean, I don't care if they, I just feel like I'm more information.
Which brokerage are you with?
Thank you, guys.
Oh, okay.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can get started with the questions and they're super basic. I think, overall, we'll start from the very foundation and then we'll continuously build our way up. But Jose, I mean, you touched on it a little bit, but, like what really got you thinking about real estate and starting that journey? I mean, there's a lot of options out there for, a lot of kids and a lot of youth in terms of direction, right? Whether it's, contracting, whether it's, going to college and going that path, or it's real estate and starting your business. What sort of got you thinking about real estate as a potential option?
Well, it was by chance, to be honest with you. So I cut my teeth in sales, in life insurance. So I was selling life insurance as a means to make money, right? I was doing a lot of door-to-door knocking and selling life insurance to people. And then I had a friend who was in the mortgage business, and at the time he had an overflow. This was in South Florida. He used to live in South Florida, and he had an overflow of Hispanic customers, and he didn't speak any Spanish. He was American, and asked me for my help translating mortgage documents to his Hispanic clientele. So you know, he was paying me per file. For every file that I translated, he would give me a little bit of his commission. Great. And very quickly I realized I don't need to be I need to be helping these people myself. Like I could do this job, you know. So the guy was super nice. He actually, when I mentioned it, when I approached him and said, I actually want to do this. I actually want to be a mortgage loan officer. What do I need to do? He actually took me in. This is the gentleman I said, you know, was a very good mentor that I got early on in my real estate career. So he took me under his wing, taught me everything that I needed to learn about mortgages. And so I started serving the Latin community in South Florida. And that's what got me started. That's what got me going. I saw the potential because I saw how successful he was. So I knew what was for sure possible. I mean, I obviously beyond that, I ended up doing a little bit better, but I knew what was possible at the time at a very young age. So I took it and very aggressively went.
Sure. And what was your first year like in the industry?
It was actually very good. I was doing FHA loans at the time, very different than how you do loans today. Everything was obviously manual. You know, it was a lot of facts. I mean,
You're dating yourself.
I'm dating my country. You're making me date myself. You're killing me here. Move on to the yeah, move forward. But anyway, the FHA packages were like this big per file. We were killing trees left and right. So in those years, I mean, this was like a massacre of, you know, of trees. But you know, it taught me the basics of real estate. In real estate, you have a different language, and you know, I now teach the 60-hour course for people who want to get their license, and I tell students who don't have a mortgage or real estate or title background, you first have to learn the language. You being an attorney, you don't have to. You've already gone through all that, but I'm saying people who don't have that kind of background have to learn a specific language that we speak in real estate so that you could better understand the material. You can't just come in, study, and think you're going to pass. That's how I get 50% of students fail that real estate licensing exam on their first try. But I was able to learn that way. And then my first year, I ended up very successful, did a lot of loans for FHA clients in the Hispanic community in South Florida. And then from there, just I kept going.
Yeah. What are some things that you wish you knew at that time that you knew now, or you know now?
You know, at the time, and I've gone through stages of my career, right? So at the time, ambition was as I mentioned, was my number one goal. It was just, I was very ambitious. I wanted to make a lot of money. Okay, you're young, you want to make money. I'm not ashamed of it. You know, that's the mentality of a young person, right? You see money and you're like, oh wow, you know, I can do this as my career. Are you kidding me? I can do this. I'm gonna do this, right? And then as you grow in the business, then you realize how much responsibility is on your shoulders from the standpoint of the financial aspect of families that are entrusting you with a very important part of their life, right? Buying a home is typically, normally, people's first investment, even if they don't, even if they're not looking at it that way, they're looking at it as just their home. Buying a home is typically their first investment, right? And for some, it's the only investment that they end up having when they retire, that's the only asset that they end up with, because they don't invest in other vehicles. But so if I had to go back to answer your question, if I had to go back to that 24, 25-year-old kid, I'm dating. If I had to go back to that kid, I would say, yes, money's nice. I wouldn't say don't go for the money, because, you know, we also have to take care of our family. We get into this business to earn a living, but also be more mindful of the other person, the person that on the other end of that transaction. So that's what I would
Sure,
probably do different.
sure. And I think we have, you know, a wide array of experiences here, right? I'm fairly new in the industry. Glenda's fairly new as well. Snapper, you're, you know, just getting into it, right? And we have, you know, like right here in the center of this core group that's been doing it for a little while here. I guess what would you recommend, you know, in terms of getting started in the business, right? And a lot of people, you know, starting out like, well, should I do title? Should I do real estate? Should I just get into investing? Should I get to wholesale? Like, there's so many different paths.
Yeah, so this was for my real estate career. So then I, you know, as I mentioned, I worked for years with real estate investors. To be a real estate investor, you don't need to be in the real estate industry, obviously. What you do need to be successful as an investor is the ability to surround yourself with the right people. Okay, you need to be able to find in real estate investing. You can make money in different ways. Kayvon owns a construction company, right? So you could say, okay, I own a construction company. I can do the construction. I can partner up with someone that's going to bring me the deal, someone who's going to have the cash. I'll finance the construction cost. The three of us, we can share in the profits of that one property. You could say, well, I have the money. I need somebody that can bring me the deal, and I'll pay the construction person. So this way, it's just between two people. Or I could say, I'm going to do it all. I have the money. I can pay an ISA, an inside sales agent, to land me my deals. I'm going to finance it all. I'm going to get my construction person, and I'm going to profit from it all. I've dealt with all kinds of investors who have shared it in the 3 ways, 2 ways, 1 way. In this business, to answer one of the questions that was sent to me, you know, that you guys expected me to answer here, I think is important to answer now. Yes and no. Do you need money to make money in real estate? The answer is yes and no. Okay. Yes. So no, if you have the ability to bring a deal, you don't need money. You can tell me right now, you have a good viable deal right now, I'll get you the money. I have the ability to go and get you $1 million if you need right now. You do need money if you don't have the ability to provide the deal, the money, or the construction piece. If you don't have any of those 3, then yes, unfortunately, you will need money. Now, there are many ways of getting money out there. Hard money lender is something that I would not recommend anyone. And I saw your eyebrows. I've seen too many people get into the business because there are too many moving parts in a real estate investment deal. And any one of those that goes wrong will cost you. And whatever profit you think you were going to make is going to be gone in a blink of an eye. A hard money lender, for those of you who don't know, it's a lending individual or company that will give you the money and say, I need you to give me back. And I've seen it as low as 9%, but I think that's cookie talk. It's between 10 and 15%.
It's the minimum, I think.
Typically.
So it's an upfront fee. They'll charge you an upfront fee of a couple percent, plus they'll charge you 10 to 15%. So the name of the game at that point is, I borrow the money, finance the property. I need to turn this sucker around quick, because that 10 to 15% that they're charging you is on a monthly basis. So interest rates are yearly. Let's just establish that as a base. So if the rate is 10%, that's 10% for the year. So every month that you are holding that debt, it's money out of your pocket. It's money that you have to pay this hard money lender. If you have a deal, the reason why I say a hard money lender is not the best option is because if you have a viable deal, a really good deal that has enough, I call it juice, but enough equity, private money is much better. You can either have somebody give you the money and participate in the profit, or you could have someone come in and say, I'm going to give you the money for 1%, which is much lower than the hard money. So you can negotiate at the end of the deal. When I sell the property, I'm going to give you X, your principal plus 7% interest, without it rolling every month. Does that make sense?
So we have two questions online.
Sure.
One of them is, how do you fund your deals?
Mhm.
And the other is, share your biggest failure and what specifically did you do to recover? So biggest failures, how you recovered, and how does one go about finding these deals?
Okay.
Funding.
Funding them or finding them?
Sorry, funding. Deals.
Okay.
Now, when you're talking about deals, are you talking about flips or like investments, like short-term rentals, long-term rentals? Like,
Right, so, and that's a
They're all
very good question,
investments.
because it's a great question, because they're night and day, they're not the same at all. So if you're gonna, I was specifically speaking about flips.
Okay.
Because with flips, I'm gonna go in and get out, get my money, move on. With buy and hold, you're buying the property with the plans of holding it, renting it out, and realizing the long-term profits, right? So how you fund your deals are through private money. That's the best way to fund your deal. Now, how do you find private money? Let me tell you that if you have a deal, right, it's through networking. So if you have a deal that makes sense, and I'm one of your sources, I am going to get you the funding. I'll get you the funding tomorrow. I mean, honestly, there's a lot of cash out there that's looking to invest in good deals. It's just finding the hardest part of real estate investing is finding the deal. Okay, the people who find the deal have the upper hand, because they can then say, give me good terms, otherwise I'll go to somebody else. This deal right here, we can buy for $100,000, we can 50 in it, we can sell it for 250. Bang. I can find you somebody to fund that deal at any point, very quickly. So to fund your deals, it's private deals and it's through networking. That's to answer that one question. What was the second question?
Can you talk about some failures and how you recovered from those failures, or a specific example of failure and how you recovered from it?
Yeah, so investing as a newbie, there are a lot of things that can go wrong. Okay, and one of the biggest mistakes that people make is thinking, if I have the deal, right, the asset, and I have the financing, now I have the financing, I have the deal. So these are the two most important things, right? The biggest mistake is thinking the job is done. Now I can just get a contractor to come in and do the work. When they're done, I'm going to give it to my agent. My agent's going to sell it, done. So not managing the contractor is a huge, huge mistake that would cost you everything. Okay, I've had many times have I seen new investors come in, many times. I'm being serious when I tell you this. I mean, I've managed over 400 properties for Fannie, Freddie, Bank of America, and Wells Fargo, and I can tell you I've seen many first-time investors come in, fund it, not hire a project manager thinking they can manage the project themselves, and having a contractor delay the work, change orders, increase the price, and end up chewing away the profit to the point where by the time they're done, they don't have anything or end up owing. And then, not, again, surrounding yourself with the right team or with the right person is what's going to get you there. 100%. I mean, you need to have somebody tell you, or at least walk you through the process for the first couple of deals until you have a good understanding and grasp of what it takes to make it work.
How would you vet someone to help you manage or lead that type of initiative?
How would I vet an investor?
No, how would you as an investor vet the team that you'd be looking to bring on to help you with your first 2 or 3?
You should be asking for proof of their experience, not this is what I did. And there's too many people that can talk the talk, but if you press them, show me an example of a property that you manage from beginning to end. And that's from the agent standpoint. So here are a bunch of landmines, and these are not by any means all the landmines. So let's say that you're trying to get into real estate investing, and you say, I think I can be the person that gets the properties. Right? I think I can buy list, probate leads. I can buy absentee owner leads. I'm going to start making calls, and I'm going to start getting some leads, and I'm going to start working them, and I'm going to get the properties. I need the money. Okay, first of all, gotta vet the money person, right? Make sure that person is going to have the money ready for you, so that when you make that offer, the funding is there. So you vet that person. You have to vet the contractor, right? You have to vet the contractor to make sure that the contractor is a good contractor that has experience handling foreclosed homes, right? And then you need to vet the agent that's assisting you in doing your comparative market analysis. An agent that understands the market and that is going to do the numbers based on all of the potential issues that you're going to have, right? Somebody can say, okay, I'm going to do a comparative market analysis. Today's market is super hot. Let's say we're in August. August is nice and hot. We're going to buy it today. It's going to take me 4 months to sell the property, right? Okay. Guess what happens in 4 months from August? September, October, November, December. You're going to put the property on the market in December, at the beginning of January, the worst time of the year. If you haven't taken that into consideration, there goes some money, right? So you have to vet your agent. So you have to vet everyone you're going to be working with in order for you to save yourself a real problem. Go ahead.
My mind jumped all over the place. But
I do that to
that
people sometimes.
depends where the investment is.
Sure.
Where you got the property.
Sure.
Because I started doing all this stuff, and I bought my first property in 1987.
Okay.
Oh,
You are older than me.
I'm just, but the thing is, it's true what you're saying. But you have to have the knowledge of the price of the
Compare.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing.
Yeah.
You gotta know the price. You gotta know the market price.
Yeah.
I don't do much about all this stuff, but on top of my head, I know the price. That's how I work with investors. I know the price, and then how much I'm gonna spend to do the remodeling.
Right.
I already know. Sometimes I don't even write it, but because I already know the area.
Right.
I know the area. I know the price of the wood flooring, the windows, and all this. How much it's gonna cost? And then the investor, if it's a smart person, also he do the numbers. They help me.
Right.
So when we're working together, I start working with a lot of different people. Everybody's different, obviously.
Yeah.
And then I start doing the numbers, how much it's gonna cost. And most of the property that we bought was one guy that I have, and all of them, we flip about 15 of them.
Nice.
And the good thing is we always make money.
Did you make money on all of them?
No, he made money because I just.
Got it.
Find the property.
Yeah. You were finding it for
And
me.
I invest with him a couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Together, but most of the time, I find the money. The guy who's gonna help lend the money, and then I find the property, and then we start working right away.
Sure.
I mean, we make $30,000 to $95,000 for a property.
Yeah.
Which is not bad.
The spread is, again, you can make that kind of money, flipping properties. It's very doable to yield $50,000
It's hard.
on average
It's
per
hard
property.
to find a property that you want to make money.
You gotta do the number what he's saying, what he's saying. You know, I mean, you probably knowledge. I mean, I know a little bit, you know, but what I mean, I'm doing, it really works.
Yeah.
You gotta
Yeah,
know the price, you gotta know the market, every subdivision is different.
So when you're vetting an agent, so, you know, when you're vetting an agent, the agent, you know, you say, okay, listen, I have this potential investment here, 1234 Main Street, right? Can you take a look at it? And me as the agent of that investor, I would go, all right, let me take a look at, if we buy it this month, how long is it gonna take you? My list of questions is very long. Like, how long is it gonna take you to fix it? It's gonna take 3 months, 4 months, because I need to know when we're gonna sell it, right? Then I gotta look at the market where it's at. What's the average days on the market that property spend there, right? So I look at that. You know, you have to look at withdrawn listings, canceled listings, what did not work in the marketing stages in that neighborhood, right? And so you look at all of these things, you know, the market overall, like where are we trending? The market locally, where are we going? The interest rate, what is my target client? Is it an investor? Is it some, you know, is it somebody that is looking for to buy the property to just then rent it out? Is it an investor? You know, because you could also have an investor that's going to buy it from you to then rent out. So there's a whole host of questions that will then allow me to then do my research and go back to you and say, okay, yeah, you could buy that 1234 Main Street for 100 grand. You put 50 in it, we put it on the market. I think I could get it sold for you for 250 minus all the commissions and all the stuff that you're looking at to spend. You're gonna net $45,000-$50,000. That's what you're looking at. And so having somebody that can do that for you, it's super important. Again, and I know that I'm a little bit biased because I'm a realtor, but I've seen too many cases where people just don't rely. You know, again, when I was managing the properties for Fannie Freddie and these guys, I would be like, okay, I'm gonna, you know, you're gonna buy this one from us. When you're done, if you want, I can sell it for you. I can do the analysis. No, I have my own real estate agent. Okay, no, that's not a problem. I don't have a problem with that. But I heard of so many issues with people who just ended up hiring their cousin who has a real estate license because they wanted to save 2% on commission. Like, really, you know, that's really where you're gonna save your money, and it ends up costing them more. So vet them. Contractor, make sure that the contractor is a good contractor that has good, like Kayvon, you know, years of experience. Ensure that they have a track record in the industry, right? And like I said, the person that you're getting in bed with in terms of the money, just make sure that they're going to be able to fund the deal for you, right? Because you're you're likely to put a really sizable earnest money deposit on a cash deal. I don't know. I mean, make sure that you're vetting that person as well.
Yeah, no, it's a great example, and one of the points that you just made really resonates and hits home with me because just in the last week, I've been working with an investor who is interested in purchasing a strip mall, and you know, we had a great conversation. He signed a buyer agreement, right? Because a lot of the strip malls I'm going to have will be off market. And so he ends up calling me late last week. He's like, hey, son, I see that, you know, the commission's at 3%. If I bring you a property, is there any way that, you know, like you can give me your commission? I'm like, absolutely. But, you know, there's a lot of considerations that need to go into that, right? Like, let's just say you go to another agent. Are they going to vet out this property to make sure that you're buying a good asset, right? Like what you know, checks do you have in place to verify the financials, the tax benefits, the neighborhood, all the different considerations, the leases, right? Like are they triple net, are they double net? Like what do you have in place? It's like, well, I don't have anything. I was just hoping to see if I could save on commission. I'm like, well, like, you know, there's a lot more that goes into, especially on the commercial side, right? Like what you're trying to get into. So he understood, he sent it to me, and it was an absolutely disastrous property. Right. So it's important. And, you know, as agents, if you get that pushback, you just got to know. Right. But also, you know, to your point, you know, when you're talking to an agent or someone, make sure they know what they're talking about, that they can actually help provide value. Because otherwise, yeah, you can actually just do it yourself, get a lawyer and do the deal yourself, but, you know, look for someone that brings value to your deal. In terms of, real estate investments, what kind have you focused on in your career, and what do you see, you know, we're in the Northern Virginia, DC, Maryland, West Virginia, maybe market, right? What do you see as sort of like where the market is today, what to focus on, what you focused on, and where you think the market is headed?
Can I give you a question from the chat?
Sure,
Let's combine together with that one.
Yeah, go ahead.
What single trend and where do you see the construction market grow most?
The construction market?
Yeah, that's the question. Where do you see the construction market growing most?
Okay, so as far as trends, there is a very significant trend in terms of investing, and that's the purchases of single family homes has increased as part of the investment portfolio. It used to be that investors wanted to keep it light, and I'm talking about for the buy and hold, right? Buy and flip, it still doesn't matter. The property, you know, it doesn't matter what kind of property it is, as long as you have the spread, doesn't matter. But the buy and hold of single family homes has increased significantly. That is a trend that's definitely you're seeing more and more. Even corporations, I'm sure some of you have heard, corporations are buying single family homes at a much rapid rate, and that's because the younger generation that's now starting to have families and things like that, they're very cash strapped. They have a lot of debt, student debt through the roof. So they can, and with interest being as high as they are, they have to be renters. They can't be buyers. They can't afford it. So that is being looked at as an opportunity from an investment standpoint to buy a single family home for those who are going to have family, kids and whatnot, and are going to need a bigger home. So that trend is definitely very apparent now. The construction question, maybe Kayvon can take that one.
I mean, you see it all over, right? There's sure 1, 2, or 3 cities in Northern Virginia do you see most? So I'm thinking they're referring to renovations, additions.
What 2 or 3 cities? What
are 2 or 3 cities where construction is shown? I mean, cities like Vienna, Arlington,
Ashburn.
I don't know. Yeah, Ashburn. Yeah.
Yeah. Still.
Even Centerville.
Centerville. Yeah. Chantilly, Aldie. Leesburg still being built out pretty significantly. So what's happening with that? The construction piece also is the western side with the expansion of the subway, right? The train system being all the way now out to Ashburn. And also due to the pandemic, more people work from home. Ones that don't work from home can take the train to DC or to the eastern side of Virginia. And so that's what continues to lead that expansion and that growth that you're seeing out west. And let me tell you, it's not just Leesburg and Ashburn. That was before. Now it's getting even further west and further south, right? Because the prices are lower, right? Look at Manassas is exploding. Gainesville has exploded through the roof. You have all the way down to Culpeper. I'm telling you that those areas are continuing to grow. And so right now, if you have cash with the rates as high as they are, and again, now they're getting lower. We're now in the high mid-sixes, maybe. So if you have great credit, mid-sixes, yeah. So, but it's still a little high, right? So there's still a lack of buyers in those areas. So like if we're here, no, in the Vienna, Tysons, and Falls Church, and Arlington, yeah, you're not gonna find anything. But if you start going a little bit more south, you're gonna find more deals. And because the rates are still elevated, you will find some property, especially if you're buying and holding right now. It's a great time for investors to just get into the market, buy and hold right now. And then you know, even if now you have the buy and hold long-term gives you wealth, you know, for the future, but you also have the medium, right? You don't flip, you don't buy and hold forever. You buy and hold for a while, wait until those rates come back down, prices get inflated. That's kind of like a flip, right? Because you're now selling it 2 years later, even though you held it for a couple of years, right? So it's a great opportunity now because the rates are still somewhat elevated. Again, the expansion of people migrating south because it's cheaper, west, further west because it's still cheaper. It's a little cheaper. That gives you an opportunity to invest.
And I would say the other key thing for the market right now is not to focus necessarily on immediate cash flow, right? To Jose's point, I mean, it's more of a longer term strategy if you're going to get involved, right? You know, I've run the numbers on several properties over the last few months, and just with interest rates, even if you're looking at a 20% down, you know, you're still, you know, maybe, you know, breaking even from a cash flow perspective, but 5 years, even 3 years, right?
Yeah.
Down the line, appreciation is going through the roof in our market, so there's an opportunity.
Even if you come out of pocket a little bit.
Yeah.
Even if you come out of pocket a little bit, I mean, if you look at it, you come out of pocket $100 a month, that's $1,200 a year. 3 years, that's $3,600. That's peanuts. I mean, compared to what you will get if you end up selling it 3 years later, and you realize the increase in price. I mean, 3,600 is nothing. That's a drop in the bucket, you know. So, especially if you pick the right properties that have good potential. Yeah. What else?
Any questions from you guys about anything?
Websites to look into foreclosed homes include realtytrack.com, auctions.com, home stores. Your local realtor, the person that you know that you're working with, talk to them. You know, make sure that that you're pushing them constantly, and if they're not doing the job for you, find another one, and then find another one. You know, I'm in the business, and if I'm not doing my job, and somebody leaves me because I haven't found them a property, hey, it's my fault, right? So you, as an investor, you should not be apologetic about that. I know I have some agents here who don't say that. I mean, it's our job. It's our job to find our investors properties. We're not doing it. They have every right to just work with somebody else, or they can actually. I have investors who work with multiple people. I have my go-to investors that when I have something that is really juicy, I go, hey, look, you know, jump on this one. Let's go.
Everybody have different experience and different ways to buy property.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to see.
Maybe.
Yeah, I want to see I want to see my investors succeed.
Right. Because
no matter what.
You're saying offers in this area is tough.
It's tough.
Sometimes they have 15 offers, 20 offers, even cash.
Yeah.
I mean, I have sent offers, I remember this in America.
Mm-hmm.
Montgomery Village.
Oh, yeah. Montgomery Village.
Like
Yeah.
4 years ago.
Yeah. Trying to find something there.
One offer, they should say.
Mm-hmm.
27 offers.
27. Yeah.
27.
Yeah, we're still seeing that, right? So the property's really good. You're still seeing that competitiveness.
More, that makes.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, we look everything. And say, that more, we can get rid of it.
The other thing is properties that don't need work, that are not. So if you have a property, again, if you're looking to buy and hold, and you have the ability to, if you have the money and ability to wait, properties that have multiple offers, that means that it's a good property, right? They're in a good area. Typically, it's a good property. When you come in with cash, you're beating out all these other people that have financing in place. So that's a strategy that some investors employ. They're like, all right, just find me a deal that you think is going to be very competitive. So I'm like, okay, so immediately I draw in Ashburn. I'm like, all right, what's your price point? 600 to 700,000. Great. Okay. How a property hits the market, I'm like, no, this one's going to go quick. Like, just throw him an offer for asking cash. You're going to beat offers that are above asking finance. again, up to a point. Let's not get that twisted, right? Like a home seller is not gonna say, well, I'm gonna walk away from $50,000 just because this guy's offering me cash. But if the difference is negative, it's like 10 grand, you know, you have a better chance of landing a property, and then all of a sudden you have a good property that you grab, as long as the rental numbers make sense. Again, all of this is about the research, about the work that you have to do to prep the investor, the package for the investor, right? And yeah, it makes sense. You know, there's all kinds of different strategies to land investment properties out there. So
Yeah, and to add to what Jose said, so you know, as a lender, I actually have a product that will basically guarantee the loan even before an offer, right? So we have this technology called Bolt that will pre-underwrite an offer. So you're still financing the deal, but you're essentially giving a cash offer. Right, so if you have folks that don't necessarily have the funding, you know, you can still present a cash offer because we've already gone through all the checks and balances for that loan ahead of time.
And how long does it take to close for you?
Oh, after that, it's immediate, right? It's within a week that you can close, because all the work has been done up front.
Everything's okay. Well,
Right.
there's some issues.
Right, I mean, there's always gonna be like condo questionnaire documents and those types of things that the condo, for example, right? But in terms of like the money coming in, it can be just like a cash offer.
And what about this property, like it's a mess, you know, old and this and that, and
yeah, if it's an investment loan, if it's for
Yeah.
investor, you should be fine.
Yeah,
I'm talking about like 2 or 3K.
Yeah, I mean, well, 2 or 3, that's an FHA loan.
that's an
2 or
FHA
3K
loan.
FHA loan.
That's
right?
a little different, right?
Uh-huh.
But conventional for investor loans, we have options to basically get cash offers.
There's the DCSR loan, which is that,
DSCR,
yeah, that's the one where the credit score is not as important, right? You could be in the 600, as long as you put in 20% down, they'll look at the deal and it makes sense. So again, being familiar with all of your financing options, if you're gonna finance it, right? If you're not gonna go through private money, just making sure that you are exploring all of the financing options. I mean, people in finance, in the mortgage industry should be able to walk you through some of those and, yeah.
I captured
Go ahead.
2 websites that you mentioned for finding, potential deals, realtytrack.com and foreclosure.com. Did I miss one?
I didn't say foreclosure.com, that's an older website, but I mean, they could use that also. Auctions.com is the one that I said. And the other one was HUDHomestores.com. There's not a lot. I mean, if you go to HUD Home Store, you're gonna be like, in Virginia, there's like, they probably have like 30 properties on there or something like that, last time I checked.
HUD Home Stores?
HUDHomestores.gov, sorry, that gov.
Thank you.
Pretty sure that
Or
gov.
like I said, you try those counties, lien,
The what?
tax lien.
Tax lien, yeah, I mean, those are difficult. It depends on the state, the right of redemption comes into play and some of the, I don't know, you know, I've never had any luck with those. I've had more luck with probate. Probate, is where I've had the most luck.
Actually, ones take a long time
They
to
take a-
close too, so that's, I mean,
Yeah,
are you willing to wait sometimes months and months to a year?
yeah, it takes a long time.
The cool thing about tax liens in DC, and there was a really good sale in December, but I had to go travel and I wasn't able to take full advantage of it. But the cool thing about DC was they have one robust like tax lien auction, like once every 2 or 3 years. They had one this past December. But the cool thing about it is that, you know, let's just say you make an offer on a home, you know, whatever offer you put down, let's just say you put down $10,000 for property in Northeast, right? If the original owner comes back and pays off that tax lien, you get paid 17.5% commission through the time it takes for them to pay that off. So even if you end up putting $10,000 down on a property, you'll collect 17.5% at the end.
Right, well, I was reading the stuff, and haven't done, there's like Loudoun County, a lot of different counties. And sometimes auction, you buy properties from courthouse. I mean, it's a lot of different ways to buy property, it's just, it's not easy as it sounds, but there's a little videos on Instagram.
Yeah,
It's not easy, it's not that
No.
easy. But if you.
Yeah, but do it, you know, you need to still do it.
Yeah,
do it.
yeah, like
Find
we
it
start
working.
doing
yeah. And I would say like just being very focused, right? I mean, starting out, like for me, the biggest thing was how do I get focused? Because I'm meeting so many great people and there's so many different paths, right? But you've got to create your own niche and then you can come to these meetings with your own thing, like, hey, like this is what I do. And then everybody's going to tap into you versus trying to be like someone that does everything and just knows a little bit of everything, right? So focus is so important.
And just keeping your eyes open, you know, just driving around, the property that we found last. I was just driving and it was for sale by owners. And the guy was fed up with his insurance company because he wasn't paying. The insurance company wasn't paying him for damages and stuff like that. And he said, screw this, I'm gonna put a for sale sign, I'm gonna sell it myself, forget agents and stuff like that. And then he removed his sign, but I kept following up. Finally, you know, we landed it.
Yeah.
And so just driving around, keeping your eyes
He
open.
didn't want to see you there anymore.
He said, "Forget it." Not once.
Just make sure, you know, going to webinars, right? Like, you know, things like these are very helpful, right, for networking, but going to webinars, joining Facebook pages, things like that, you know, just staying engaged, staying in the business, finding out, you know, maybe finding what we call a bird dog in the industry, which is, you know, there's a person that just goes door knocking, trying to get deals, right? And they'll charge you a wholesale fee for finding you the property. But again, all of these things, they cost you money, right? So you're paying somebody $5,000-$10,000 sometimes more for a property that has good equity in it, right? That has the potential of being a good investment property for you. So you have to throw that number into the equation, right? So there's an equation that you go, okay, I'm gonna buy it for this. What are my expenses? What are all the things that I'm gonna spend on? Bam, bam, bam. And you gotta go down line item that sucker and even be a little bit aggressive on the side of caution when you're doing these things. But be realistic. I mean, also don't overdo it because then you'll end up no deal makes sense, right? Right. So, yeah, it's all about resources and having the right information.
The system is the key.
Mhm.
You know, I have an investor that he started with $75,000. He will borrow a little money from me, and now believe it's already made from those livings. I didn't number it, but probably about 800,000.
So you turn 75 into 800. Yeah. Yeah, flip it, turn it.
Fire me. I said, why you not fire me? They're like, no, because not anybody can find property.
Right.
It's hard to find property that you can make money. It's a different level.
Yeah.
I mean,
For sure. It's
I
fine.
can just took this dirt, a lot of different areas, but if you good and find property, you can make money. It's gonna stick with you.
So,
Yes, sir.
Jose, with probate properties, you said you like probates and you've had luck with them.
Mhm.
What are some of the things there's a potential probate that I'm going after in Annandale.
Mhm.
But what are some of the things that you've seen? Is it similar to foreclosure or are these well taken care
It
of?
depends on who's giving it, who's giving you that probate.
Okay.
Like, where are you getting it from? Is it from the attorney? Are you getting it from the actual kid? Like, so, you know, the last probate I did was in Maryland. These two kids, they had a strained relationship with their father. Their father passed away. They got a call and they go, you know, you guys got this property. They had to go in, they had to clean it out, and they were like, "What? I don't know what to do with this." So through a friend, they called me and they're like, "Hey, Jose, you know, what do you do here?" So I mean, so if you get it through like that, that's the front channel, right? The back channel will be through attorneys. For probate attorneys are sick of agents always calling them, because the agents, you know, they know that that's probate attorneys and divorce attorneys get hammered by realtors, right? Because no, so he was not a probate attorney or a divorce attorney. Otherwise, I would be sitting next to him. You know, to say, hey man, how's it going? No, just kidding. But divorce attorneys and probate attorneys, you know, they get. So if you ever, you know, are fortunate enough to build a relationship with a probate attorney, you know, that you could be that go-to person, and you could, you know, you could benefit from that, right? Same with divorce attorneys, and divorce attorneys need an agent that they can rely on, that they can say to their client, hey, look, I trust this person. They're gonna need to sell their asset because they're splitting up, and they'll recommend you. So to answer your question, it just depends. I don't know who you're gonna be talking to.
Right.
If after this, if you wanna tell me, I can probably, talk to you a little bit more about it, but yeah, probates they're good deals because typically the properties are in bad shape, so they need a lot of work. People who get the property, they don't have the means, nor do they want to have anything to do with fixing on the property. A lot of times that's a mistake, because I mean, literally, if you think about it, you could do that work and then try and resell it yourself, and you can make more that way. But some people just want the cash. A lot of these properties are paid off, so they're like, you know what, we'll take X for it, no headache, just take it. And so those are really good ones when it comes to this business. And then, of course, foreclosed homes.
Yeah, in this case, this one, I don't see an attorney. It looks like the husband passed away, the wife passed away, there's no next of kin, nothing.
So who contacted you?
The neighbor told me.
Ah,
Yeah,
so you gotta find the attorney. The
so,
attorney's gonna be like,
right,
I have my guy. Likely, I mean, I don't wanna be a nigga Nelly here, but more than likely, the probate attorney is gonna be like, don't worry, I got this.
but you would see that you would see that in the assessment online, right? It should say an attorney's name,
It'll,
or does that happen with taxes?
yeah, I think that's later, yeah, that might not have happened yet.
That they don't have been updated to
That's
the
true
name.
too.
We have a title company here, sir,
Hey, there you
to write the
go.
question, right here, she'll tell you.
So, that, I wasn't even listening to the beginning part, because I'm getting burned up over a deal falling apart right now, but.
Oh,
But, so if it doesn't show an attorney assigned yet, it probably is still like sitting in the courts and the whole probate system, but it will eventually show one.
So you can't do anything until it goes through the.
You can't, there's nothing you can do until you've gone through probate. It's not even gonna do any good to try and touch the property.
probate is just a court, man, I mean, it's a type of court, it's the judge is just, they gotta try and find who gets the property, right? So,
Yeah.
it's,
Which, if you want to send me do you have the address for it?
Yeah.
If you
I
wanna
can
send
share.
me, I can like pull records on it.
There you go.
and See if there's like any other, cause sometimes like we can see where the tax records have gone, or see if there's any other
Okay.
person involved in it.
and right there, that's an example of the synergy that you need to create, like what you need as a client, you need to have resources like this, always at your disposal, so that it can help you through the.
Cause sometimes
So
we
the
can
whole-
see more
so the
on the
whole
back end. You never know.
Thank you.
So those property, you can look into all those liens into, the property have those liens, right?
Yeah,
Even a short sales.
yeah.
What other liens?
When you send me properties with liens, I die. My processors like call me and they're like, what are you doing to me?
You're killing me.
Exactly, because that's so much work. I mean, really, honestly, it's just so much back and forth in work to make sure that everything's cleared up and removed so that you can close it legally, so.
Yeah.
Because you basically can't take over a property that has existing liens on it.
Question for you. I made a deal with a listing agent in Sterling for a while. And we were almost ready to close. And then all of a sudden, he called me, listing agent called me, we're not gonna sell. I said, why? Oh, we find a third lien on the property.
A third lien,
And like, what?
So,
Why they,
So why your title company?
no, I wasn't selling agent.
he was a selling agent, it was a listing agent who called him,
Yeah.
he's saying, the listing agent called him.
Yeah, so but the selling agent, title company is just taking care of.
the listing agents.
Is-
The listing
Take it
agent,
out.
though, when he put the house, probably like, sometimes if your client's not clear with you when you're listing the home, you might not know all these liens exist.
Yeah.
And sometimes they don't know they all
They
exist.
don't know,
They'll forget that they applied 20 years ago for a HELOC that they never used, but it's still gonna show up
Mhm.
until that gets removed,
Or that
so.
fight with that roofer, they didn't pay all of it, and they
Yeah.
filed a mechanic lien.
Or there's a tax lien against them
tax
they didn't
lien,
know
yeah.
about.
Then what title company? We go to the Sutters, so why they
So.
come up with that?
I don't think so. Yeah.
Well, Jose, I just want to thank you for coming. This was fantastic. Very insightful. Appreciate it. I want to thank everybody who came here.
So,
It's a question.
yeah,
It was their fault.
you need to have all the time.
And the people online, you know, Chip and Cassandra, thanks for joining us. Negocio.
No problem,
And
guys.
it'd be nice if we could connect everyone to each other.
Thank you guys very much.
What's that, Chip?
Thank you very much, guys. It was
Thank
awesome.
you for coming. So now we can network, or you know, if you have to go.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.